Agriculture is consistently rated as one of the most dangerous occupations in Canada. Between 1990 and 2000, over 1,000 fatalities and nearly 15,000 work-related injuries were reported in the Canadian farm sector. Agriculture is unique in this regard. Name another industry where people live and play in and around the workplace. When you look at it that way, the cost of doing nothing about farm safety is unacceptably high. There are 4 common elements to every safety problem: people, equipment, materials, and environment. These elements are the 4 major sources of loss and are also the 4 major sources of control. How these elements interact is one of 2 significant factors which will determine whether you'll have an accident-free farming operation. The other factor is your awareness and preparedness for the unexpected. Try our farm safety quiz and see if your awareness of the hazards of farming passes the test.
Question number 1. True or false? Agriculture is Canada's most dangerous industry. The answer: false. Farming and ranching ranks 3rd behind mining and construction as Canada's most hazardous occupations. Question number 2. Who is most likely to be injured or killed in a farm accident? A. Teenagers. B. Men aged 25 to 55. C. Children under the age of 5. Or D. Workers 60 and over. According to the Canadian Agricultural Injury Surveillance Program, children under the age of 5 are at the greatest risk of injury or death on the farm. While children make up only 5% of the farm population, they represent 12% of the fatalities.
We had a situation a few years back where our 10-year-old daughter was out playing in the snow where we had piled it up after a large snowfall. She ended up burying herself in there, and she became unconscious and stopped breathing. Upon finding her, my husband was trained in first aid, as was my older daughter, and they were able to give her mouth-to-mouth and CPR and revive her. It was at least 10 minutes before the ambulance could come. So without that training, I think that we would have lost our daughter. So I think I would enforce that everybody on the farm should have basic first aid training and some CPR training as well.
Question number 3. True or false? Amongst children, boys are more likely to be injured than girls. The answer: true. For every girl that dies in a farm-related accident, 4 boys will be killed. The leading agent of those accidents is the tractor. In fact, 40% of child injuries and fatalities result from a tractor-related mishap.
The typical situation, it's a young boy playing around the tractor, and the father is on the tractor, but with the big wheels, he just looked back and he's not able to see his boy just behind the big wheel, and put the tractor on reverse, and the fatality occurs. It's very, very sad.
Question number 4. How old must a child be before they can legally operate a tractor? A. 12 to 14. B. 14 to 15. C. 16, since all machinery must be operated by a fully licensed driver, whether on private property or on public roads. Or D. There is no minimum age.
There is no legal or minimum age. A tractor operator must be competent and able, usually age 12 to 14, to operate a tractor on private farm property. However, if an operator drives a farm vehicle on or across a public road, they must have a valid driver's license.
Question 5. What are the primary factors leading to farm-related injuries? A. Unsafe equipment or material handling processes. B. Fatigue from working long hours. C. Cutting corners to save time. Or D. Working conditions such as slippery surfaces and poor lighting. Gerald Mayhew gives us a hint.
We're busy, of course, as most accidents happen on the farm. Not that I was tired because it was only midday when the accident occurred, but not thinking, moving too fast, put my clothing too close to the PTO, and consequently I was down for almost 8 weeks after that with some pretty severe lower extremity damage.
The answer is A. Most disabling injuries are caused by unsafe equipment or unsafe practices using machinery. The power takeoff shaft is at the top of this list. Becoming entangled in a PTO is by far the fastest way to suffer serious injury on the farm. A PTO running at 1,000 revolutions per minute will wrap up nearly a quarter of a mile of rope in 60 seconds. At that speed, your arm or leg will be wrapped around the spinning shaft 16 times in just 1 second. In November of 2000, Rene Sylvester was cutting wood in the field when he reached over a fast-moving PTO shaft to pick up a bolt.
Take off, this machine was running, and I mean really running at a fair good speed, and I just went over like this to catch it, and I went like that, and my coat just went like this, and bang, that was it. When I woke up, I was between the tire and the three-point hitch.
The PTO grabbed Rene's coat, ripped his clothes off, and threw him to the ground. He considers himself fortunate that he only broke his arm and suffered severe burns and bruises to most of his body. Question 6. What type of farming results in the highest rate of injury? A. Field crop operations. B. Fruits and vegetables. C. Greenhouse and nursery. Or D. Livestock operations. According to Statistics Canada, livestock operations collectively accounted for over 60% of farm-related injuries in 2006. Question 7. Of livestock operations, which type has the highest risk of injury? Horses, dairy, hogs, or beef? Mike Klink gives us the answer.
One time we were loading bulls into our stock trailer, and it's got a center door, and I went in trying to close that center door, and the bulls backed up and caught me behind the door. And I was lucky to get out with no problem, but never again.
Farmers handling beef cattle are at the highest risk of injury. In fact, handling cattle and bulls results in 51% of all animal-related accidents.
Whenever we're handling cattle, I tell everybody to make sure they know where they've got an escape route in case an animal turns on you. Just be able to get away, and try never to work alone when you're working with cattle.
Maneuvering horses made up 45% of animal-related accidents, followed by cows with calves, and then hogs. After livestock farms, field crop operations represent the second greatest risk of injury. About 33% of all accidents fall into this category.
I was in a big hurry one time, and I crawled into the combine hopper with the combine still turning, because of course you don't have enough time. You're always in a hurry. And it was just like somebody hit me with a brick when I got out of there, and I recalled just a week earlier, a neighbor of ours had been in the combine doing the same thing, got wrapped up in there, working by himself, and he just spun around on that leveling auger for hours until somebody found him dead. That was the last time I ever did that.
Statistics show that isolation increases the likelihood that an accident will be fatal, since people who are injured and not found for long periods of time often die from complications. Question 8. True or false? Machinery-related accidents account for half of all farm fatalities. The answer, false. Machinery accidents, especially those involving tractors, account for 70% of all farm fatalities in Canada. Question 9. True or false? The most common tractor fatality is the result of a rollover.
The answer, true. Rollovers result in 1 death for every 1.5 hospitalizations. Rollover injuries are particularly lethal, so most victims die immediately at the scene from severe crush injuries. The most common type of tractor rollover is not backward, but 62% occur when the tractor wheels slip off the shoulder of the road.
Question 10. What age group is most likely to be involved in a tractor rollover? A. Teenagers. B. Men aged 25 to 55. C. Children under the age of 5. Or D. Workers 60 and over. For the answer, we go to UPA Farm Safety Specialist Denny Hua.
Well, you know, in tractor rollover, the risky group, it's the older farmer, the one of 60 years old and over. They are just 13% of the farmer population, but if I well remember, it's over 40% of the fatalities on the tractor rollover and over 30% of all the hospitalization injuries for this kind of accidents.
Hua believes the reason for this is older farmers may tend to use older equipment that does not have the updated safety devices.
Counting the cost of farm-related accidents can really add up. Consider this. If your business runs on a profit margin of 5%, and if the total uninsured cost of an injury is $5,000, then your business will have to generate $100,000 in sales to pay for the incident.
for all the farm on a yearly base, the cost of injuries is over $250 million a year. And I think for me it's the price is a lot higher than that, since when a farmer is involved in injury, sometimes you have to sell the farm or abandon the production. So there is a lot of social pressure and cost involved in a kind of farm injuries.
Clearly, operating an accident-free farm makes good business sense. Minimizing loss begins with making safety a priority, conducting a safety audit on your farm, keeping all machinery in good repair with guards and shields in place, having adequate accident insurance coverage, training workers in safe practices, and most of all, leading by example every day.